Hi, I'm Dr. Nelson, and I am your instructor for TAMM 272 Fashion History. So, I just want to kind of introduce you to the course since it's online, what you can expect, how to navigate Blackboard. I'll go over the syllabus, what you should expect to be doing every week, and also the assignments. So, when you log into Blackboard, this is what you will see. This is the main homepage or the dashboard. If you ever want to get back to this page, all you have to do is click right here. If you look over here on the toolbar on the left, you'll see a place for email and messages. This is a great way for you to contact your classmates. If you want to email someone in the class for help, you click create message. If you hit 2, you can choose who you want to email. You select the person, hit this arrow towards the right, and then you can type in your subject and your message and then hit submit and it'll send to them. You can also send this to multiple people at once. This is where the announcements will be. They'll be posted right here. I will send out announcements regularly, but they should also go to your email as well. But if you want to check an announcement when you get to Blackboard, just click here. Again, you should get an emailed copy every time I send one. Your grades are also right here where you can view them. It'll tell you like what's upcoming and what you got on the particular assignment. There's a discussion board, and then under class info, there's some important things like the syllabus, which I'll go over shortly. To get a copy of the syllabus, click here, and you will be able to download the syllabus. I have some FAQs here as well, like how to view the correct answers to online quizzes. Are there any things like extra credit? Do I round grades? Just common questions I get. I also have a job and internship site. It's a blog that I try to update with job postings that I get that might be of interest to you. So if you want to, you can go to the blog and there's a little email sign up where you can get notifications anytime I post a new job or internship. Basically, in a nutshell, you're going to be doing things by week. Whatever week it is, from week 1 through week 16, they'll appear here as the weeks go on, and the available week will be at the bottom. So I have week 1 posted right now, and I'll come back to this in a second, but it's basically what you need to do. So first I want to show you the syllabus and kind of give you an idea of what to expect in the class and just kind of how everything operates. So this is again TAMM 272 Fashion History. This is my email address. When you send me an email, please make sure that you include TAMM 272 in the subject so that I know which class you're talking about. I have a lot of students and some of them are in multiple classes, so it's really hard for me to keep track of, if someone sends me an email and says, when's the quiz due? I need to know which class you're talking about so I can go check because I have a ton of other classes and students. So just make sure you tell me what class you're in. My office hours are going to be virtual. It's Monday and Wednesdays from 1 to 4. You can email me to set up an appointment if you want to chat via Zoom or phone. Otherwise, during the hours of 1 to 4 on Mondays and Wednesdays, I will be available via email and be able to respond to you in a timely manner. The textbook that we are using in the class is Survey of Historic Costume. It is the 7th edition. Here's the ISBN. You can copy and paste this and search for it. It will pop up with multiple options. So this textbook is required for this class. You will not be able to pass the class if you don't have the textbook. So it's very important that you get it. I understand that textbooks are expensive. So I have found several rental options for you, and I've tried to put the best priced ones here. These are all links that you can click, and that will take you to a rental. So I will click one real quick just to show you. So here's the cover of the textbook. It's Survey of Historic Costume. Again, it's the 7th edition, and you can rent it from the places that I listed. So, for example, if you click here right now, there's from Books Run an ebook available for $49.60, and you can get that immediately. So again, this book is required. The first assignment for the class is actually for you to get a copy of the book and show me that you did that. So here's a copy of the textbook assignment, but basically get a copy of the book. It can be a hard copy or you can rent it. You can get an e-copy, whatever you want. And then you will email me by the due date and send me a form of proof that you have gotten the book. So it can be a time-stamped email receipt, and that needs to include your name and order number and the date. Or you could do a screenshot of your time-stamped receipt. That means you can like take a picture of your receipt if you went to the bookstore or whatever, and it has to include your name, order number, and date. Or you can take a selfie with a handwritten sign with your name and date of you holding the book. That will all be accepted as your first assignment, which is worth about 10% of your grade. So important to get it done. The book is also going to be what you're going to be able to do well on your quizzes and your final exam for. The quizzes are worth like 26% of your grade, and the final exam is worth, I want to say, 18% of your grade. So that's a huge portion of your final grade. And so I really recommend that you do get the book. Again, all of these places I've found do rent the book as of January 16th, 2022. But you can also just Google it and see if you can find a cheaper price. Just make sure it's the 7th edition. So in this class, we are discussing fashion and costume history. We're basically starting at the very beginning of time. I will kind of skip over the first few chapters of the book because it kind of just gets very, very similar. I'll give you a short introduction, and then we're going to skip right into the Byzantine and early Middle Age period. When you look at your book, if you really want to go back and read like the first two chapters, 2 and 3, to look at some of the historical photos and stuff, you're welcome to do that. But basically, we're looking at ancient civilization into the development of Western civilization ending in the 20th and a little bit of the 21st century. We're going to talk about costume, how to identify it. We're going to talk about technology, how the economy has influenced everything, development, and change. So you're going to know about the origins of dress, common themes, look at ancient costumes, talking about components of women, men, and children, social economic conditions. You're going to learn a lot of words. It's going to be a big vocabulary, a lot of memorization, but you're going to learn how to pronounce terms used in the discussion of fashion history. And then you're also going to be able to identify costumes by civilizations and periods. So this class is fully online. It is a lot of information that you're going to be learning in a short period of time. So if you look at the book, there's 24 chapters. That's a lot. So some weeks you're going to be reading 2 chapters. Some weeks you might only read 1. But just keep that in mind. There's a lot of information, and you do need to devote some time to reading and watching the videos and looking over PowerPoints. So you will have quizzes. You'll have at least 1 per week, and it's a reading quiz, so it's going to be going over the chapters that you read. And then at the end of the semester, you will have 1 final exam that is cumulative, meaning it's going to cover the entire course. You will also have a few assignments, which I'll go over shortly. Something to keep in mind is that makeup exams and quizzes are not automatically allowed. You will need to get instructor approval, and I might require you to have an institutional excuse for that. All homework, all quizzes, and the exam need to be turned in online via Blackboard at the designated time. Late work will be penalized 10% per day and will not be accepted after the 2nd day it's late. No exceptions. So if you miss the deadline for an assignment or a quiz, you can still turn it in for up to 2 days after that due date, but each day I will be taking off 10%, And then on the third day, I won't accept anything late. So please keep that in mind. For me to take attendance in this class, I will be checking that you're logging into Blackboard every week and doing your work. So you start out with 48 points, that's full points in the attendance column in the full grade center. And then if you start not logging in or not doing your quizzes or work, I will take off attendance points for that week. So each time you haven't logged in for the week and haven't done your quizzes and assignments, I'm going to take off 3 attendance points for that week. That's going to be deducted from your 48 points total. So I highly recommend that you check into Blackboard at least once a day and also check your VSU email once a day, because I find that the students that do that and stay on top of things end up doing much better in the class. You might miss an important announcement, you might miss a deadline extension, but those students that check into Blackboard at least once a day and check their VSU email once a day are the ones that generally do better in class. So this is just a little recap of what I talked about with late work. But again, I will penalize assignments 10% per day for up to 2 days, and then the third day I won't be accepting anything late. Please make sure that you do individual work, that you're not working with others. Everything needs to be individual unless specified. And that includes assignments, quizzes, and exams. If I catch you working with someone else, then I'll have to look into the decorum and honor code and academic dishonesty policies, because that would be considered cheating, and I don't want to do that. So please make sure you're not cheating and make sure that you are not plagiarizing either. If you are having computer or internet trouble, please take a screenshot of whatever error message you have and email it to me ASAP with an explanation of what's going on. If you have any issues with Blackboard or your email, please contact the student help desk, and I've listed their contact information here. In my experience, problems are solved a lot quicker if you actually give them a call. So I recommend calling, and then if you still can't get a hold of someone, try the email. But again, I need to know if there's an issue going on, like your Wi-Fi is out or your computer broke or whatever. I need to know that as soon as possible if you have an issue. So please make sure you send me a screenshot and a detailed explanation. Please look over the decorum and classroom policies, academic dishonesty, and then also netiquette policy. And that's just being professional as a student. When you send emails to your professors, make sure you greet them first. Say, hello, Dr. Nelson, or dear Dr. Nelson, and then sign it appropriately. Sincerely, Dr. Nelson. Make sure you include a subject line for our class. Like I said, make sure you include what class it is. For this class, it's TAMM 272, so that I know what class you're talking about. And then make sure you discuss in detail what you're asking about or what you need. Acknowledging and returning messages or replying to them promptly is appropriate, and just make sure that you're using appropriate language. For students with disabilities, I have included some information for you if you need any kind of support, so please make sure you read this and check out this link. I've also included student counseling services. If you need any help, please feel free to utilize this as well. I'm just kind of skipping over this, but please make sure you read over all these university, college, and copyright policy. And then here is the tentative point breakdown for the class. So again, this is tentative. So assignments and exams point values might change at my discretion, but I will definitely notify you in advance. The first assignment you have is the textbook assignment, and that's 52 points out of 570 points. Again, that's about 10%. Your attendance is a little bit under 10%. You've got online quizzes, basically one per week, and that's 15 of them, and that's going to be 150 points, which is about 26% of your final grade. And then you have 2 assignments, a historical interview with a discussion board response that's required, and I'll go over those shortly, and a costume evaluation paper, which is the film assignment, where you're going to be watching a film and then evaluating the costume. And then lastly, you have your final exam, which is 100 points right there. And that's about 18% of your grade. This is my grade point scale, so what it takes to earn an A, a B, a C, D, and an F. So just make sure you take a look at that. If you have any concerns about your grade, please contact me ASAP. Don't wait until the last day of class. This is a tentative class schedule. So it's broken down by week. So here's week 1, 2, 3, 4. And every week, that's what you're going to be doing. So this is what we're going to be talking about. The first week, we're going to be going over chapter 1, which is just an introduction. And then this is what you are responsible for. So your first assignment is right here. It's due on Sunday, January 30th. And then you also need to read the syllabus thoroughly. And I suggest putting your due dates in the calendar. So all of these due dates that are here in this column, I would put them into your phone or in your calendar so you know what work you have to do every week. And then you need to read chapter 1 in the book, review the lecture video and the PowerPoint, and then your quiz is due also on the 30th. I kind of give you 2 weeks to do the first week because that will give you time to get the textbook. And then the second week, chapter 4 and chapter 5 is what's being discussed. So you're going to read those, look at the videos and PowerPoint, and then take your quiz. So all of this stuff is due by the 30th. This, again, is tentative, so if anything changes, I will let you know for sure and send an email announcement. So next I'm going to go over the 2 assignments I just talked about. The first one is the historical interview assignment. So for this assignment, you're going to be interviewing an older adult, someone who's older than you, who grew up in a different generation than you. So this is more exciting if you try to find someone who is 2 generations ahead of you. So rather than interview like your aunt or your parent, it's more interesting if you interview maybe a great aunt or a grandmother. Please tactfully ask them to describe ways in which clothing was obtained in their families when they were younger. You are also free to ask your own interview questions, but please make sure to ask at least 5 different questions. Ask how the clothing was mainly produced and sold during that time. Ask about clothing production, like was it handmade versus manufactured, and what influenced their styles. When you're writing your assignment, I want you to first describe the person you're interviewing. Give me their name, first name is fine, their age, their gender, their location, maybe where they grew up. Follow this with listing out each of the questions and then their responses, kind of in an interview style, presenting your findings. So you're going to post this in the designated discussion board in Blackboard, and I'll show you in a second. You're also going to submit it in the assignment portal in Blackboard. So these things are due on Friday. Posting in the discussion board and then submitting a Word copy of your assignment in the assignment portal. After you've done that, you're going to respond to one of your classmates in the discussion board, and that's going to be due on Sunday. So you need to respond to at least one person, and it has to be a post that hasn't been responded to yet. Please be kind and thoughtful and thorough. Your response needs to be at least 6 to 8 sentences, and there's some guidelines that are posted in the discussion board that you will need to follow to get full credit. Make sure you're writing complete sentences, that you're writing enough, and that you're using correct grammar for both your paper and your response. So here's where the discussion board will be. So you'll click here, but this kind of gives you instructions what to do for your discussion board. You'll click here, and then you'll create a thread, and then you'll submit your assignment, and then you'll hit reply when you want to respond to one of your classmates. You can submit your assignment by clicking Assignments and then clicking Historical Interview. Browse and find it and attach it, and then hit Submit. So those are the 2 things that are due on Friday. And then your response to your classmate, again, you go to the discussion board, find a classmate, respond by hitting reply, and that's going to be due on Sunday. So next I'm going to talk about your film assignment, which is you can also find in assignments. This is a paper, and it is going to give you an opportunity to consider historical costume in entertainment. So movie, television, streaming, videos, or even books. You're going to compare and contrast the costume designer's representation of the clothing of that era to what historical clothing researchers report from that era, aka what you learn in class or see in books. Like, just basically see how accurate it is. Also, this is a chance for you to learn how to search the library's electronic databases and practice APA style. So what you're going to do is select a movie, a TV series, streaming series, or a book that takes place before 1920. That's very important. It has to be before 1920. And then you're going to watch it, watch the movie, watch the show, whatever, and identify 4 or 5 main characters. You're also going to identify groups of ordinary people. So in addition to the 4 or 5 main characters, you also have to identify like ordinary people, aka crowd scenes or like people in the background. Maybe like someone who's walking down the street. These people are not main characters, but they're going to be dressed to represent the time period still. Here are some examples you can consider: The Patriot, Pride and Prejudice, Mary Queen of Scots, Gladiator, Troy, Little House on the Prairie, The Last Samurai. These are all some options that you can look at. You're going to format in APA style, which I will post a lecture on that you can look over if you're not familiar with APA style. And then here are your requirements. Your paper needs to be 5 to 7 pages. You need to include 5 to 10 images that are going to support the content of the paper. So those are going to be like screenshots of the movie or of the show showing the costume that you're discussing, so I can see what you're talking about. And those images go at the end. They don't count as the written part. They don't count as the 5 to 7 pages of your actual report. So keep that in mind. You need to have a title page, which also doesn't count as the 5 to 7 pages. You need to have an APA abstract. That's just like a summary of your paper that goes at the beginning. You need to use headings to organize your paper and use in-text citations, and include a reference page at the end. All your references need to be legit. They need to be credible, so that means they were obtained through a real book or the library, not Wikipedia. And make sure you cite them throughout your paper so you're not plagiarizing, and then you also include them in the reference list. This is just kind of like a walkthrough of the structure of your paper, kind of talks about like your introduction, your paper body, and then the references you need. If you need any help, make sure that you contact me with plenty of time to work on your paper so I can help you with it. This is going to be more of a lengthy assignment, so give yourself time to write this paper after you've watched the movie or the show. So that's pretty much what you can expect from the class. Your work is going to be done by week. The week begins on Monday and ends on Sunday. Typically, unless otherwise specified, your quizzes are going to be due on Sunday, and your assignments are going to be due either Friday or Sunday. So just keep that in mind. If you are someone that does things last minute, give yourself plenty of time and start working on stuff throughout the week so you're not doing everything on Sundays or everything on Friday night. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to me. You can email me and I will get back to you. I hope you guys have a good semester.